What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day as always. Today's video, we're going to show you how to turn this into this. We're going to show you how to do all kinds of custom tube work, inside cage, fenders, an outer cage, bumpers, and all you're going to need is some polystyrene 1/8 inch rod or tube to get this done. Keep in mind, we are still giving away that SCX24 at 1,500 subscribers. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, comment done down below, and you're automatically entered. So we're back on the workbench now, and I figured it'd be easier to start with a brand new cab. This is the one we did the patina paint job on just the other day in my last video. So we're going to turn this cab into this. An off-road oriented buggy that's just got a flatbed and some tube work in the rear. Should be really light in the back compared to the front since this is a 3D print, meaning most of the weight will be in the front. So it should be really good at going uphill, but then at the same time, it's not going to be very good going downhill. So let's go over everything we're going to need to get this build done. So I got some polystyrene sheets. I got a couple different thicknesses, an X-Acto knife, some super glue just because it's quick. And then this is ideally what we want to use. It's just pretty much glue for polystyrene. But on some of the joints, it does take a little bit longer than I would like to set. So it's nice to just use the super glue in the situations where you wanted to put it there and set quickly. Then we got a bunch of 1/8 inch rod and then 1/8 inch tube. So this is the scale size you're going to want to use on these 24 scale builds. This just looks best and works out well. And these are all pretty cheap. They're like $3 to $4 at the hobby store. Then we got some 3D printer like cutters to cut the tubes with. It's what I found to work best. And that's basically everything we're going to need to get all these tubes installed and the flatbed put on this cab. So to get started, we're going to need the flat part coming off of the cab to attach to the rear, because as you can see, this is pretty flimsy right now. And the way I attach it is actually with Velcro. I'll go ahead and show you on this one. I just put two pieces, one up on the front and then one in the back. And it gives you some adjustability, so that way you can kind of get it set perfectly right every single time. So that's going to be where we start. We're going to cut off a piece of this polystyrene sheet and figure out the pretty much shape we want of our flatbed. Now this is sort of a flatbed. Ours is going to be an extreme flatbed, just a sheet of plastic basically. So I've gone ahead and traced the shape we're going to do. So we're going to kind of pinch the rear a little bit just because I like that look better. And then we don't have to worry about clearance on the rear tires nearly as much. And then I'm not sure if we're going to cut out where the shock towers are or not. We may end up leaving it. I haven't fully decided, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this shape out and then we'll be good to start. All right, so I went ahead and cut it and then sanded the edges so it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but you know, it'll do. And it's much shorter than the actual full 3D printed bed, which will be really nice because the departure angle will be really good on this. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the cab so we can kind of get mocking up some tubes. All right, and with some super glue, we got it on, and you can see how short it is now. It definitely looks shorter than the other one. And this is pretty much how it's going to sit. Obviously, we're going to lower it down a little bit, and there's no weight on the back, so we're probably going to have to do something about that in the future. But this will probably be a good time to show you just how much shorter this is. It's probably a good inch and a half shorter than the full 3D printed body. Now, as it sits, it's not very strong, and the bed is very flimsy, obviously, since it's just super glued to the back. So we're going to have to add some tube work. I'm going to probably tie it into the top and then some in the bottom. I haven't fully decided how I'm going to do that yet. Probably something similar to this one, slightly different design. So messing around off camera, I found that I'm going to do a very long arch here, basically, and just like a wheel well, similar to the front. It's going to be kind of hard to match the other side. Let me go ahead and get this put in place to show you what I'm talking about. And just like that, this is what I was talking about. So a really long arch starting at the front of the bed and kind of just tailing off to the end. And then I took a little bit of inspiration from Jeeps with like comp cuts in the rear, so that fender never really comes back down in the back. Then with everything flexed out, it has perfect clearance. We don't hit the tire whatsoever. And honestly, it tucks up in there really well. Now, I do think this is going to be kind of hard to imitate on the other side and get it exactly the same. Fortunately, we're not going for perfection here. This thing's going to get rolled over in the rocks, and it won't be perfect after a few runs anyway. So we're going to do our best to mimic this on the other side and see if we can get it to match pretty closely. All right, so I went ahead, did the other side. It's not perfect, but it's very close. And as you can see from the side angle here, it lines up. And then I went ahead and did the main hoop here and right behind the cab, similar to the other cage I did. This is kind of just where you want a little bit of strength. I did it a little higher, so that way if we do roll this, hopefully it just hits this tube and doesn't really scratch anything up. Now I do want to tie this in right here just because in real life you would have to tie that in. There's no support for that upper bar. And I do think it'll stiffen everything up just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and add some bars coming down from that hoop to meet the lower tube there. And then for the back, I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do here, but I think we're going to go ahead and just run a tube down each side. And since it's pinched in a little bit, it will look pretty nice from the back. The tube will kind of come in at an angle. We'll do one on both sides. I think that'll look really good. We might put an X there in the middle. I haven't decided. I might throw a spare mount on the back of this. I think that would look kind of cool, but I don't have a full-size spare, so I'm not really sure how that's going to look. Here it is with those two side bars coming all the way down to meet the rear. I'm actually very happy with how this turned out. I'm really glad I went with the pinched rear design. That added a ton to this. It looks much better than if it was just very boxy, and this just looks much better in my opinion. But let's go ahead and we'll throw it on the chassis and see how we're doing with weight. I think we're still going to have to adjust some. It's definitely not as bad now that we got some tubes on there, but the back definitely sits a little higher than the front. Let's add a couple more tubes. Maybe that'll help out a little bit. So I added a little bit more bracing up top. It was just a little flimsy there at the top, so I wanted to add some kind of connections down to the side tubes. Definitely helped, and I think this thing looks sweet. Let me know which one is your favorite, the tubed rear or the one with the bed and the cage. Personally, I think I like the tube one much better. It's super clean, but this one's really cool too, and I really like the grill guard that I put on this one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Keep in mind, we are still giving away that SCX24 at 1,500 subscribers. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, comment done down below, and you're automatically entered.